All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. There still may be people joining us, but really thank you to everybody who's participating in the Million Mentors effort today in our summit. I mean, while I certainly miss hugging and being with all my favorite state leaders, I'm very thankful that many of you are on this call, besides the ones that are going to speak today, because, I think many people and probably everybody that's affiliated and knows about Million Mentors knows that our state movement has been really a bit of what I call the fuel and the wind beneath the wings of Million Mentors. And so for that, I just want to give a shout out to each and every one of you who have served as state leaders, who are currently state leaders, and maybe some of you who are on the call that now will be state leaders after this call. So just thank you so much. So I am, Kirby, let's go to the next screen. So I'm Sheila Boyington. I serve as the National States Chair for Million Women Mentors. And I also am the CEO of an educational technology company that I own along with my partner in crime, my wonderful husband of 37 years, Dane. So today, it's really like a reunion for us. I think for 6 years, we've been meeting at this time of the year and chatting and catching up on everybody's kids and all our lives and everything. And this year, it certainly is a little bit different. But for this session today, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of really take a trip to, I would say, hey, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a trip to a few states and get to hear a little bit about some of the action that is going on in these different states around really getting more girls and women to consider STEM careers, how they're amplifying the message of Million Women Mentors. So I'm joined today by Kathleen Scofield, Dr. Kathleen Scofield, my great friend from Florida, Amanda Sadowski from Minnesota, Jenny Kopeck from Chicago, from Illinois, Letitia Gary from South Carolina, and Kim Fossey from Louisiana. And what we're going to do is each of these great individuals are going to get to tell you a little bit about their work and Million Mentors and some of the things that are going on with the state. We also are going to be launching a live poll question, at least 4 or 5 of those during this session. And we hope that you guys will participate so we can get a sense of we just wanted to involve you in the conversation as well. So I'm going to start off, if you go to the next screen, by introducing Kathleen. So anybody that's met Kathleen will know she is a force to be reckoned with, and you better do what she tells you, otherwise you just do it herself. She is amazing, and we have a great personal friendship as well, and that we are both very passionate about helping that next generation. She's leading the Florida team, and there's been some great things that have happened across Florida, but certainly in the Jacksonville area where Kathleen heads up STEM to hub their STEM sort of ecosystem work. So, and Kathleen just earned her doctorate while she's been running this group. I mean, she is incredible, and I'm just so thrilled to get to introduce my friend and our Million Mentors State Chair, Kathleen Scofield.
Well, thank you for that incredible welcome and introduction, Sheila. I am really honored to be here and get to tell you just a little bit about what's going on in Florida. Like everywhere, workforce development is so critical, especially as we're working our way through economic recovery from the pandemic and from so many other things. And when I think about Florida and I think about how do we empower girls here in Florida, we have to help them see some of the careers that they might not otherwise become aware of. And one thing that I've been thrilled with is the Moonshot Project, trying to get 1 million girls thinking about what that moonshot might be like. And we, from that and from some other things, think about Florida as the space capital of the United States. And sorry, other states, we kind of try to own that little bit of space. And so recently, on the lines of you can't be what you can't see, helping people envision a future and think about their future is so important. So we've got this reinvigorated space program. We've got national organizations like STEM Next getting into space. And we looked at what do we have right here in Florida. And by a kind of unique partnership with Blue Origin, the rocket company that Jeff Bezos started, and his nonprofit Club for the Future, we came up with a campaign called Dream Big Florida. And what we're doing is asking every student in Florida to think about one of two things. Either what would it be like to live and work in space, or what is a problem here on Earth that you could solve with access to space? And Blue Origin has paid to have postcards printed, 2.8 million postcards printed and shipped to every single school in Florida. So as a kind of unifying experience, the kids are drawing their vision to answer that question, bundling up the space mail, and we're sending it back to one of Blue Origin's rocket sites, and they're sending those postcards up into space, bringing them back down, and then returning them to the children postmarked flown in space. So what excites us about this is the fact that kids, girls can dream about what's possible, dream about problems they can solve, because as we heard earlier today, so many girls want to be in helping careers. Now, I'm just going to also mention, how do I know that? Well, one way I know that is to help girls discover themselves and find out about STEM careers. We've used the Learning Blade curriculum very heavily, especially in my region, but beyond just the north of Florida as well. And that Learning Blade curriculum has helped us uncover so much about how girls think and how they're doing with thinking about themselves in a STEM career. And you can see on the screen, these are the women of space, not all of them, but certainly quite a few of the most famous ones. So through our Dream Big Florida program, girls can see themselves in these careers, and they can hopefully go ahead and solve a problem or have a dream, and then they'll be inspired by that to pursue that career. And Sheila, if you would flip the slide for me, if possible. And so
Herbie's running the slides, by the way.
technology is always just a challenge, and we're all learning to work through this wonderful Zooming. But I'll just mention that it's not only Florida who can have this opportunity. While I can't guarantee that Jeff Bezos will ship postcards to all the schools in your state, anyone can go to the Dream Big Florida website or to the Club for the Future website and print your own postcard, put a return address on it with a stamp and your dream for space, send it off to the address that they give, and it will get flown to space and returned to you. So you could see this was our inspiration. And through this project, we're highlighting females in space, tweeting about them, putting them up on our social media, and hoping to really draw girls into these exciting careers. And very briefly, along with that, Microsoft has also picked up on our space theme, and they have developed something called Day of Data. And they've taken Blue Origin data, NASA data, and other data, and you could go ahead and flip the slide. And they are celebrating right now all around us something called Day of Data, brand new this year. And Day of Data is a partnership to help kids start imaging out and understanding data, understanding the power of the Excel spreadsheet, and in middle school and high school, understanding data visualization. Again, it's another project that we're launching here in Florida, but it's available to everyone. It is completely free. And I hope that you'll join us in our Florida Adventures to Space and empower girls in your state with these two stellar projects. So thank you so much for having me today, Sheila. And I'm sad to say I have to put my glasses on to look at this poll question. But our question is testing your knowledge of who was the first female to ever go to space. And if you would take a moment
Great.
and
Yeah.
answer the poll question.
And while they're doing that, thank you so much, Kathleen, for really sharing your passion and your work. And obviously the kids in North Florida are very lucky to have you. I know this is going to sound like a broken record, I think, but every single one of these, I will say this time, they're all women that I'm going to introduce to you are simply rock stars. They all are. I will say the Minnesota team has been paramount, just really, really full of fantastic leaders. But it all started with Amanda Zerdesky giving me a call one time, and she really already had pretty much built a Millionaire Mentors team, but just didn't even know about our movement, and found out about our movement and came aboard with an entire team. So, she has led, and what she's going to share with you today, with many of her partners, with Sarah, with so many others that have worked with her on building a real dynamic work in the state of Minnesota, with so many revolutionary things that many, many other states have learned from. So like I said, it's going to be really a team of great women leaders that we have today. And I'm thrilled to turn it over to my friend as well, Amanda Zerdesky.
Virtual hug to all of you. I know many of you I have met. I've been at the summit several different times, and I, quite frankly, really miss the connection because it's so reinvigorating to continue the movement across our state and partners and amongst the young women and girls that we help and support. So let me just pivot a little bit. If you want to jump over to my slide, I'm going to talk to you guys about, quite frankly, a baseline of the pandemic and the situation that many of us find ourselves in, which is, we spent a ton of time and energy and resources to stand up originally what we called the Trailblazers 3-pillar mentoring and event model. So the first pillar of that model was to have events within corporations where young high school women and girls were brought into those organizations and could not only see a day in the life, but then also hear from young women that are trailblazing in STEM from a wide variety of careers and job descriptions. The second piece then is what we called the corporate tour, which is we bring a bunch of young women into an organization and they get to tour the facility. So it's not just, again, hearing about different types of jobs, but also they could really experience what a corporate environment it looks like. And the third is the in-person, both speaking at different events, but also the advocacy of the one-on-one mentoring relationship. And like many of you that put a lot of time and energy and years into these event models to impact as many women and girls as possible, we were also completely stunned when it all came to a screeching halt with the pandemic. And so behind the scenes, we have been, I would say we were kind of churning around how to virtualize what we were already doing. So there, again, had been some progress for us to make this natural evolution to more of a virtual experience. But I would just say the pandemic put an absolute gas pedal behind our efforts. Because so many of us realize these girls need us. They are in such a time of crisis at key decision points of their life. So in the next couple slides, I'm going to breeze through, and this is just really a call to action and support to other states that may not have a channel in order to do these virtual events and pathways. We are absolutely here to support you. So let's go to the next slide and I'll just kind of walk you guys through our evolution. So our roots, as Sheila was mentioning, was Million Women Mentors Minnesota. We built, I would say, a pretty good, solid social media following within our states. And you can see across our corporate partners, we have spent a lot of time and energy fostering those relationships with key partners and corporations within the Twin Cities community. So that was our starting place. And I already talked a little bit about the 3-pillar model. So let's go to the next slide. So this is, and we don't necessarily need to play the video, but I wanted to just highlight here that this link is available to watch. As we were thinking about how to formally launch Trailblazers Live, we needed to be able to tell a 1.5-minute story about the reason why we are staying inspired to continue on with the mission of this. So if you were to go into YouTube and Trailblazers Live, one word, you're going to get basketball videos. If you put a space in between Trailblazers and Live, you will be able to find our launch video. And we also use that at the beginning of every one of our events. So let's go to the next slide, and I'll get to the point here and articulate the Trailblazers Live evolution. So Trailblazers Live is a digital platform via YouTube currently. We also live stream on Facebook, but our evolution is to also record our events for the purpose of podcasting. We're going to continue with the social media streams through not only Million Women Mentors Minnesota. I do a lot of social media across my own channels as well, but we've also just established and are starting to push out social media content on our Trailblazers Live channel. So we've got LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And really the purpose for us, one of the things that we struggled with was we spent so much time to get young women at our events, and then they'd leave. And then what, right? There was always this sustainment support question that it felt like although we knew it was worth our time, we couldn't figure out how to stay in front of them, keep them inspired, keep them supported. So the goal in taking the next step for us to Trailblazers Live was to provide that, quite frankly, forever tool and resource. If they were to go into our YouTube channel or Facebook, our vision is that they can do a hashtag search by software engineer, biomedical engineer, financial analyst. So we're doing every single month. We just kicked off in September, but our purpose is to coincide with the school year, is we do these panels by career field. So our first one was on healthcare. We did a panel last Thursday on engineering. And so we're just going to rotate every single month, different types of career, different types of organizations. And those 3 pillars, again, we're pivoting, but we're staying true to where we started in our roots with Million Women Mentors Minnesota. So those 3 pillars for us are to expose women and girls to just the diverse variety of careers in STEM. Number 2 is provide women and girls the opportunity to experience a career in STEM, because remember, for us, the exponential, I would say, cornerstone of what we believe in is hands-on experience. And because we can't provide them that right now, we use this opportunity for young women to share their story. It's really a platform to enable other women and girls to, we call it mic up hashtag, or find their voice and utilize our platform to tell their stories. And then the third, again, goes back to what I was speaking about before. How do we stay in front of these young women and girls to keep them inspired as they're going through STEM courses and careers? So as I close out here and I pass the baton over to some other awesome states that are doing just amazing things as well, the real reason that I wanted to insert ourselves here is to offer up this platform to any state that would like to do something like this across our channel. We use something called StreamYard, where we schedule an event. We go live, just very much like the summit is going today, through StreamYard across Facebook and YouTube. And then those videos are uploaded onto our channel. So if you don't have those established social media mediums and you're looking for some technology support, if you have the panelists and organizations and partners, we can give you the tools and the framework to just get this thing off the ground. And so, yeah, I think really it's a message for everyone that's listening today about empowerment, and take advantage of the model that we created and built in order to really pass the baton and, quite frankly, have even a broader ripple of impact across states and quite frankly, the other chapters across the world through the Million Women Mentors movement.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And yes, so powerful. So we're going to launch another poll question. Do you think the pandemic has increased or decreased the likelihood for females to choose a career in technology or engineering? And those of you that didn't see the answer to the last one, because I don't know that we actually showed it, the first female to ever go in space was actually the Russian astronaut that was on the list. A lot of you thought it was Sally Ride. but it was actually the Russian astronaut. So definitely, as we keep moving forward with these amazing leaders, this woman really probably doesn't need much introduction for anyone who has a kid who has been involved in Science Olympiad. Jenny Kopeck is the executive director and leader of Science Olympiad. But I can just tell you that she comes from some amazing stuff because her dad and mom are really the founders of Science Olympiad. So I don't think Jenny had any choice, that she had to love science. But she leads this organization now with such energy and such love and such compassion for that next generation. And again, I keep saying, one of my really great friends, but definitely really excited to share what they're doing in Illinois, and my friend Jenny Kopeck.
Hey, thank you so much, Sheila. It's just so great to see your beautiful smiling face, and I miss seeing you and being in DC with you. I always feel like such a powerful person in STEM when I'm in DC. So I miss that, but I love the format, and I love that we're adapting and using technology to still stay together. So again, I'm Jenny Kopeck. I am actually now the CEO of Science Olympiad, which is exciting. And I am the Million Women Mentors state chair for Illinois. From day one. I'm a day oneer. I feel like we should have a special badge. And I, over these past 6 years, have been able to do exactly what the mission of Million Women Mentors intends, which is to aggregate and amplify the message and the movement, and to bring more girls who are interested in STEM and women who are interested in mentoring girls in STEM together so that we build that STEM workforce of the future. So today, I just want to talk about two specific examples in our state, one way to aggregate mentors and kids together, and another way that we're adapting in this new global pandemic to actually make sure that people are staying on track and staying engaged. So our steering committee in Illinois has a bunch of great people involved, from ComEd to industry groups to the Illinois Science and Technology Coalition, of which my co-chair, Emily Cooper, I know she's on this call right now listening. And one thing that they did this spring was absolutely terrific. And they had planned these wonderful STEM showcases for their mentors and their students all across Chicago and the state. They have incredible STEM challenges that are instituted by top companies like Caterpillar and Abbott. And they put together these amazing challenges for kids and have students connect through their mentor matching engine with professionals who guide them through these challenges of how to create new ways to distribute pharmaceuticals in urban areas. And the stuff that kids come up with is just incredible. The big high point of it is usually a big STEM showcase where they get together at one of the big headquarters in Chicago, and there's hundreds of people there, and there's kids on stage when they get to have this platform to demonstrate what they learned. And of course, this year that was taken away. But ISTC pursued and persisted and made sure that all of these students had a platform to show their capstone projects off. And they used Facebook Live to actually bring together panelists. So in my case, I was the panelist, and we worked with the students to make sure that they had a way to talk about the research that they did, and then get some feedback from industry professionals. And so that was recorded. It was on a platform kids were comfortable with. It was using existing technology, but it kept the train on the tracks, and it kept students engaged and involved, which is what I think everyone is trying to do this year, is adapt, but not change everything, because there will be a point at which we do go back. But I think what we're doing is adding layers of outreach to what we've already planned. And if we can't do in person, using digital technology to connect people. However, that brings up a lot of different issues that none of us are familiar with in the virtual space. Virtual mentoring. What is safe virtual mentoring? How do you reach students safely? What are the guidelines that you need to put together? And that's something that here at Science Olympiad, we've been working on really hard, because we want to make sure that students can still, no matter if they're in school or at home, can have an excellent STEM experience and still engage in that STEM content that they're used to, while also meeting up with mentors who inspire them and show them what the workforce, is going to look like, what these jobs are going to look like. So we've put together a bunch of new guidelines and tools that are on our website about youth protection and virtual mentoring, so that with the new models that we've put into place, so that tens of thousands of mentors can still work with the hundreds of thousands of kids in Science Olympiad, we make sure that they're following safe guidelines. They're working with their school to begin with to make sure they're following the technological pathways that the school approves of, but they're also following all the volunteer guidelines that schools still have in place, like a certain number of chaperones or a certain number of mentors, or making sure that you're never alone with a student. These are really important parts of virtual mentoring. So we're trying to incorporate those into Science Olympiad and use, our platform as a way to share out with others kind of best practices for engagement in this new environment that's challenging us. I want to end with a quote that I love. So I read this quote, it was in one of my Education Week articles, and it said, "The best answer we have is to be proactive and build up our school and community's protective factors." The leading resilience researcher, Bonnie Bernard, highlighted how our networks can help buffer the effects of adversity. Whether that be school, family, or community, she found that focusing on caring relationships, along with meaningful participation and high expectations, helped establish environments where youth felt safe, supported, and connected. And in this time when we're all so stressed and feeling disconnected, it's more important than ever to make sure we have a safe place to meet and be inspired and continue to pull that STEM thread through everyone's life in a really meaningful way. And that's what STEM Connector and Million Women Mentors has been about: safe and effective mentoring with an outcome. So that's what we're all about. So I think we can pull up the poll, which deals a little bit with how we're pivoting in this world. So here we go. That's the poll results from the last one. So we do think that the pandemic has increased access. And so let's see, did my poll come up? So how have your local organizations met the demands of STEM mentoring? Some people have used digital tools, other people have built new programs, and some people are just sitting it out, which we totally get.
Yep, we totally do. Yeah, thank you so much, Jenny. And particularly that last quote is a big reminder as to, we do need to still remember our networks and the caring attitude. I loved what Cleona from Pepsi was saying earlier about, how she showed all the different STEM careers were about caring. And so that was kind of cool. I thought, again, reaffirming what AUW said, the whole idea of women, we like career paths where we're helping people, and quite frankly, millennials do now. So I can see, we definitely have a good number of people that are still utilizing digital tools or working in digital spaces, and also definitely, some may decide to sit out. So we're going to come back down to the south part of the United States again and go to South Carolina. I love South Carolina Million Mentors because it actually all started with one of my own personal mentees. Her name was Ariana Molesky. I've known her since she was 3 years old. And her mother worked at a community college, and she actually worked for my previous company that I sold. But Ariana always wanted to be an engineer, and a lot of it was because of me. And I thought that was so cool. And I didn't know how long that would last. Well, she is graduating this year from University of Alabama with a degree in construction engineering. And I take a big piece of pride in what she did. And she launched Million Women Mentors in South Carolina about 3.5 years ago, right before she went to college. It was 4.5 years ago. And we have been really excited to work with their honorary chair, Celeste Davis, who is a fantastic House of Representatives, or their House person there. And we're really thrilled because Latia is with us now to share a little bit about the work that they're doing in South Carolina, which is amazing.
Oh, thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. As you stated, my name is Latia Gary, and I'm an electrical engineer. And I started engineering or getting into engineering by doing science projects. That's how I got started from elementary school. And the interesting thing about that is no one could tell me what it was. No one could tell me what I was doing. At a young age, I was trying to figure out my interests. And unfortunately, no one was able to pick that up for me early on. And so that leads me to talk about being part of a STEM ecosystem. It leads me to talk about that because in South Carolina, we have a STEM ecosystem, and our chapter decided to work and join with the South Carolina Coalition of Science and Math. And that was strategically done because their vision and mission aligns with Millionaire Women Mentors. Their vision includes wanting to make sure that we advocate and be catalysts for genuine education and genuine push consistency in STEM. And they wanted to push it not only with the youth, but with educators as well. Whereas in my case, my teachers at the time couldn't help me identify my career aspirations. But we're working with the school system now in order so that they can help and educate those students in that way. So that's one of the reasons why we work with them, because they look for and they cultivate resources to help a student not only in school but out of school, right? So there's multiple organizations throughout South Carolina where they have initiatives surrounding STEM. But if we have the hubs where we can share that information with each other and get that information into the community so that various students can know what's available to them. Their parents can know what's available to them. Educators can identify students and help them understand what's available to you. Because a lot of times if we don't see it, if we don't hear, if we're not told about it, you're only going to pursue what you know, what you see around you. But there's so much more out there. And as we all know, the corporate world is constantly changing. The jobs that existed 20 years ago will not exist today, much less 10 years from now. And so our students need to be well educated in those areas to know what it's going to take. What does it take to be an engineer? What are the expectations? What do I need to do? What can I expect in the work world? And that's some of the things that we share. Also under the South Carolina Coalition for Math and Science, we established under their 501c3. So that allows us to be able to take in donations and be able to support the other organizations as we see fit. And that's definitely one of the things that within the South Carolina chapter, that's what we're all about. We're about supporting STEM initiatives across the state. And we talked about Ariana. Ariana is a great young lady. Okay, she's about to graduate. And one thing I noticed when I met her is that as the state lead at the time, she was mentored by the entire steering committee. She developed and we helped and push her speaking, her public speaking abilities and so forth was garnered through the community of the steering committee. And we pushed her towards speaking in front of others, helping her develop in that way. Because of that, and because we saw that as a group, we decided we always want a young lady to be a part of our steering committee. They're our youth, they're our future, and we want to be involved. You want to hear the voices and know what they have to say. So therefore, we started a student lead position within our steering committee. And again, that person is mentored and geared within this team of ladies. And we have high expectations, and they have not let us down yet. Since Ariana, we've had 3 student leads, and they've been awesome. And we will continue that way.
Great. Those are really 2 really concrete examples. I love, Latia, like that you guys are doing. The one is the partnership with a nonprofit to help you raise money to do some things internally in your own state. And second is the student lead, giving these young women a chance to lead. We've really done that also in Ohio. We have a contestant for the Miss Ohio contest or whatever, and she is leading as well. So I think it was just such a role model example. So thank you so much. Last but definitely, okay, we do have another question. So during the COVID era, how has your MWM chapter pivoted? So if you guys that are involved, if you want to take a shot at that answer, while I am introducing another friend as well, Kim Fossey. So we really have started more recently with Louisiana, and Kim has just been one of those people that's always been involved in STEM, I think, in Louisiana. And very excited right now as Louisiana starts moving forward. I got a chance to present at their they call it LA Law STEM Council a couple of years ago, and presented about Millionaire mentors. And I met Kim there, and she took on the lead. And we've been working at sort of coming together with an effort, and really excited as they start to roll out their STEM hubs and how that will impact what they do with Million Mentors. So I invited Kim today to talk a little bit about what some of that might look like. So Kim, welcome.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm pretty much a newbie to Million Women Mentors group. I took this role on a couple of years ago, but I immediately, today, and particularly one of the other convenings I attended last year, I realized how important the power of a network is. I've gotten so many ideas from you all, both through the last couple of years and really even today. And so to me, what's so exciting for Louisiana is that we have finally initiated a statewide network. And as we all know, the power of a network to get things done and to really accelerate the work, we're feeling this power right now to use this new vehicle to really push and advance, equity for girls in STEM. So we just see it as just a great opportunity to use, a very powerful concept, which is networking. One of the things that we're really excited about is to sort of eliminate this whole idea of isolation. Like, we've been doing things, we've had a coding camp here in Baton Rouge for girls for 7 years, but it really doesn't go past, the Baton Rouge area. Although we were able to, impact immediate counties or parishes that are right next to, the capital area. We really didn't have much of a vehicle to reach the rest of the state, particularly the rural areas of our state, which, gosh, we're more than half rural. Our big cities are really scattered, so there again, the power of this network to kind of reduce the isolation of groups that are particularly focused on, women in STEM is going to be amazing, and we're really looking forward to it. With each of the Lost STEM regional STEM centers, of course, we're going to have a hub here. There will be 9 STEM centers throughout the state. And although many states started this years ago, we're just so super excited about it. We'll have a point of contact for every region. And then we just feel like that will be so important to be able to reduce that sense of isolation, be able to really support any and every organization that is working with girls, and really, exchange resources, collaboratively plan. There's lots of these things going on right now. We've had some organizations that have been immensely successful at a regional level, such as our Girl Scouts. Our Girl Scouts have had amazing regional impact, but again, they have resources they can share throughout the rest of the community or the rest of the state. We also hope that this will increase the amount of interaction that girls have. Just to be able to, particularly virtually, to offer opportunities across the state, no matter what corner of the state you're located in, will be so much fun. I'll give you an example of a group that did it, with or without the challenges of COVID. Would be a girls group at Ben Franklin, led by Amy, a student at Ben Franklin High in New Orleans. They continually do STEM mentoring and activities throughout the New Orleans area, but recently expanded to, include any and every girl that could possibly get their hands on that invitation. And they ended up with 70 girls and even some girls in Mexico. So this is the power of networking. It's the power of getting the message across. And it's just a powerful way to, really encourage more girls and more women to get involved in this movement. And then finally, the network is going to be very valuable for us to just advance the message of the value of STEM education, the value of girls getting involved in, whether it be Girl Scouts, whether it be clubs and projects at schools, whether it be, activities that are sponsored by different women's organizations throughout the state. But a problem has always been, how do we get this message out? And I know it doesn't sound like a difficult thing to do, but it is. So, having that presence, having that channel, having that opportunity to gain that visibility in the state, that this is so important to pick your way into any and every opportunity that you can possibly participate in, is going to be just huge value for us. We've also seen, we've seen in some cases some, increase in mentoring and really innovative use of technology. Let's say, for example, Shell and our community college system just collaborated on a virtual career day that was focused on energy. And it was an amazing opportunity with an amazing platform where girls could go into the auditorium. They could walk in and hear a presentation by an industry expert, and then sit down and actually visit with an expert. So, as we move forward, we need to just make sure that all of those opportunities, are clearly, advertised and disseminated out there. And we feel like our network will be able to do these things, advance the message, help us collaborate better on resources, help mentor other women's organizations that are interested in this work. And then finally, provide a channel within our state network that specifically focuses on women in STEM.
Great. Thank you. I know we got started a couple minutes late and everybody wants us to get back into the main session, but I just want to thank each and every one of you for sharing today. Also, I see Trisha Berry, of the head of Texas online. Just want to congratulate Texas again and Maine again for those 2 awards that they earned. I mean, I think you can hear it. Those awards could have gone to any state. You guys are amazing. You're what really motivate me to do what I'm doing with Millionaire Mentors. And I know each of you are inspiring to each other. I want to thank Alexa for all her help that she has helped us over the past couple of years with Millionaire Mentors, as well in the work she does to produce a great newsletter. And I want to give a shout out to Kirby Johnson, who's my chief of staff, who has really stepped in and stepped up to help keep us all organized. And like I said, any of you that want to be part of your state team, or you want to start a state team like Catherine Lemson did a couple years ago, please feel free to email me. There's my contact information there. And if you have an idea of what you would like to commit, I'd love for you to put it in the chat box if you would. Just, like these things to be a call to action. This is a call to action. We want you to do something. We hope you're inspired today by anything you've either heard here or any other sessions. And I just wish everybody to stay safe and take care of yourselves, because this is a hard time for us all, and being part of this community is such a blessing. So thanks, everybody. See you at the closing session. Okay, bye-bye.